When you're on Dr. Dhurandhar's Fat Loss Diet, you might be surprised that your diet plan includes rice, wheat, desserts, fruits, really all forms of carbohydrate, of course in the right amounts. You might be surprised to hear this because carbohydrates have a really bad reputation right now in pop nutrition. It's really easy to, blame everything on one nutrient like carbohydrates and to say they are just the demon, they are the cause of everything bad. Just eliminate those and your problems are solved. So we could do that too, but we don't, because the science says that actually is not necessary for weight loss, it's not sustainable for weight loss, and that it might not be that great for your body. In my next few videos, I'm going to explain each of those three things so that you can feel comfortable on Dr. Dhurandhar's Fat Loss Diet, losing weight, and eating carbs at the same time. When you take Dr. Dhurandhar's Fat Loss Diet, you'll notice that it has a normal amount of carbohydrates. And one of the reasons that we give a normal amount is because you don't have to have a low carbohydrate diet in order to lose weight. So there have been many research studies that try different macronutrient compositions, meaning different amounts of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And they have found that as long as the calories are the same, the weight loss is the same. So for example, in the studies, they'll give a diet that's lower by 300 calories than a person's needs. But they'll compare it when it's high carbohydrate to that same lower calorie diet when it's low carbohydrate. And the weight loss is pretty much identical. And so that tells us that it is the reduction in calories that actually gives you weight loss. And it is not the carbohydrate content that gives you the weight loss. So at Dr. Dhurandhar's Fat Loss Diet, we give diets that have a normal amount of carbohydrate. Low carbohydrate diets are not very sustainable for a lot of people. If you have followed a low carbohydrate diet for any amount of time, you might be able to speak to this. Eating in a low carbohydrate fashion requires a big overhaul of how you eat your food, where you eat your food, and when you eat your food. Our whole eating environment is structured around carbohydrates as a base for your food. And so it becomes really challenging, I think, day to day to eat differently and for eating to always just be a giant chore. And then on top of that, you might actually be craving carbohydrates for nutritional reasons because carbohydrates actually contain a lot of important nutrients and do important things in your body. And so in our next video, we'll be going over the reasons that carbohydrates are nutritionally beneficial. At Dr. Dhurandhar's Fat Loss Diet, another reason we give a normal amount of carbohydrates in our weight loss diets is for nutritional reasons. You can get a low carbohydrate diet that has enough iron and calcium in it, but it takes a little bit of planning and it reduces the flexibility that you have in the foods that you eat and in the choices that you make. So since having a low carbohydrate diet isn't really needed to lose weight, and since it's so difficult for most people to sustain, and it reduces your flexibility in meal choices to get nutritionally adequate diets, that's why we don't bother.